ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Donna, just being real, and happy 4th of July to everyone. Hopefully everyone have themselves a safe one and a great one, and just have a good time. You know, life is short. Have a good time. Okay, we're getting back to this one. Now we're resuming. Today we're going into day one. And day one, her sister was on the stand. Yes, her sister. So I only seen a little bit of it. I didn't really watch the whole thing, so I'm kind of watching with y'all the first time. So I might pause a little bit to share my thoughts and opinions, but I doubt I'll be doing too much pause. I don't know, or whatever. Right? So we're going to get into what does she have to say about their relationship, okay? Now, if you need to know more about this, make sure you read the description so you can find out what this is about. And you can check out my past commentary because I did other days of the trial. Just do the clips of the trial. I didn't, stream like the whole thing. But I might be streaming it tomorrow in the daytime. Maybe we'll see if I'm able to. All right? We'll go from there. But share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Also, don't forget to hit the like. And also, if you need to reach out to me for viewers requests or if you need coaching in dating, love, relationship, my email is in the description. We can go from there. All right? So we're going to get into this trial here. Now, like I said, it's the sister. The sister is on the trial. This monster, this lowlife that you see right here, he basically killed this woman. Why? Because he didn't want to pay child support. That's what it basically was. He didn't want to pay child support for this beautiful little angel. Because he was cheating on his wife. Yeah, cheating on his wife. Messy, messy, messy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's no need to, don't mess with these married people. It's just not worth it. Okay, it's just not worth it. Rest in peace, beautiful. And this little angel right here. Oh my gosh. All right, let's get into this one. Now, the speed is going to be on 1.5. It's going to be a little bit faster because it's kind of long. So I'm doing it at a faster speed so we can get through it. Now, what you could do on your end, if it's too fast, you can always hit the setting and you can slow it down to normal speed and you'll be okay. All right, we go from there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like, share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, share it on your social media. If you need to reach out to me, you can find my email in the description. Let's get it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Mr. Alanis. I'm the district attorney. Can you please state your full name for the record?
Angelica Hernandez.
You can move the mic up a little bit, speak up loudly so that the court reporter can hear you.
Angelica Hernandez.
Very well. And what is your occupation?
I am a registered nurse.
Do you know why you're here today?
Yes.
Why are you here?
For the murder of my sister Grizelda Hernandez and my nephew Dominic Hernandez.
Do you know how old your sister was at the time of her death?
27.
Do you know how old your nephew was at the time of death?
A year and 7 months.
At the time of her death, how many children did your sister have?
2.
And for the record, we're talking about Grizelda Hernandez?
Yes.
Okay. What's the age difference between you and Grizelda?
9 years.
Her other child, how old at the time of her death was her other child?
Jaden was 6 years old.
Okay, so she had Jaden, who was 6, and Dominic, who was 18 months.
Yes, that's correct.
Was she married?
No.
She was a single mother?
She was a single mother raising both her children.
When you say raising both of her children, tell us more about that.
Happy 4th of July again to everyone. BG, you brought up a point, and Deb, thank you for being first in the house. Deb, first in the house. BG, this is what you said. Excuse me, I'm over here stuttering. BG, this case is confusing. Did she actually have no contact with her for almost 2 years? That's what it seems like when you get in these timestamps. Like they haven't been together for a while. And then he pops up out the blue, he wants to see the kid. So many red flags in this situation. Do I see Mr. Cooper? Mr. Cooper. I'm talking about the TV show, Mr. J, pop up in here. And blessings to you, brother. Blessings to you. Good to see you. Good to see you. This is crazy. I know. It's just so many questions. But I know we're going to get a lot of clarity off the sister because the sister going to have some stuff to say so we can find out. And what I do find out, the first baby father that she had, her first kid was another loser. And I don't think he wasn't paying child support. Ladies, we have to do better. We can't just repeat a cycle of dealing with dusties and losers. All right, yeah, we fall off once, but we got to stop. She was pushing 30. Okay, we have to stop. Stop the pattern. Stop the pattern. Maybe sometimes we need to sit back and reflect on ourselves and see why we attracting these dusties, why we attracting these losers. And this is vice versa for men with women. Go and get some therapy. It's nothing wrong getting a little therapy, a little self-help. Ain't nothing wrong if you got insurance, get your insurance to pay for it. Talk to someone. It's nothing wrong with that. All right, let's get back to it, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you hit that like. Let's resume.
If anybody was she raising her children?
She was a single mother living at my mother's household. She was raising Jaden at the time. Jaden was 6 years old. He was, if I'm not mistaken, in about first grade going to second. Dominic was going to daycare, our daycare that we've taken all our children to, me and her both. She was studying full-time at TAMU. She was pursuing nursing. She was doing her second year prerequisites.
And how was she paying for her nursing program?
She was paying for it the way I did, with student loans and financial aid.
And if you know, what would she be using the financial aid for?
She was using, well, her financial aid was primarily used to pay her classes. Her student loans went for her books and to get to and from the university and to pay for the child's daycare. It gets pretty expensive.
Correct. And tell us a little bit about Dominic. You say, do you happen to know his date of birth?
Yes, I was at my sister's C-section. I was the only person there when she had Dominic. He was born 10 days before my son, so that would be July 25th. July 26th. 28, 2016.
2016. Okay, so he was now. So at the time that Dominic died, tell us about him. How was he as a child? Was he pretty active?
Yes, he was. He actually started walking and running before my son did, even though they're just 10 days apart. He was always, I feel, the more active one when he was little. But yes, he was walking before he was murdered, but up to the date when he was murdered, he wasn't walking anymore. His dad had hurt him 2 weeks prior.
And we'll get into his condition as far as that goes. But let me ask you, during the 18 months of Dominic's life, was he receiving any financial assistance?
Now, I see you, Crystal. Happy 4th. And Melanie, happy 4th. Everybody here. Easy. Did you just creep through the back door? Well, I'll be darned. And happy 4th of July to you. Good to see you. Good to see you. You been following this trial, Easy Peasy? You been following it? All right. Got you, Crystal. I understand, because I know a lot of people's probably just listening through. My channel's more for podcasting. Anyway, just listening. Now, what I was going to say. I just forgot my thought. Oh, what I was going to say is, make sure everybody you listen clearly about what happened about 2 weeks before he murdered her and their baby. Okay, listen to that, because that baby suffered. He injected that baby with something, but we still don't know what he injected the baby with. All right, just listen. Let me just rewind just a pinch, because he's getting into the child support. Let me just rewind just a pinch. Talking so much. All right, let's get it.
Only person there when she had Dominic. He was born 10 days before my son, so that would be July 25th. July 26th. 28, 2016.
2016. Okay, so he was now. So at the time that Dominic died, tell us about him. How was he as a child? Was he pretty active?
Yes, he was. He actually started walking and running before my son did, even though they're just 10 days apart. He was always, I feel, the more active one when he was little. But yes, he was walking before he was murdered, but up to the date when he was murdered, he wasn't walking anymore. His dad had hurt him 2 weeks prior.
And we'll get into his condition as far as that goes. But let me ask you, during the 18 months of Dominic's life, was he receiving any financial assistance from the father?
No.
Do you know around this time, and the time she got pregnant or the time she gave birth, who the presumed father of the child was?
Yes.
And who would that be?
Anthony Burgos.
Anthony Burgos. And let's talk about when she got involved with Anthony Burgos. The time that she had gotten pregnant, do you know, if you know, how long had she been seeing Anthony?
I don't know.
I know I keep pausing, but people popping up. Abandoned boys. Oh, what's up? And greetings. A salute to you, brother. Salute to you. And I want to let everybody know, let me repeat again, because people's coming in. I have the speed on 1.5. We go a little bit faster when I do the recaps and replay of these trials. And if it's too fast for you to understand it, you can hit your settings and you can slow it down to normal speed. It's your choice, whatever you like to do. All right, let's get back to it. And salute a band of boys. Resume.
If what I do know is that they had met online. I don't know via how.
Well, don't guess. I'm just wanting to know that if you all you know is that they met online, but you don't know
That's correct.
what site.
That's correct.
Now, in 2018, was she still pursuing her nursing career?
Yes.
Was she still receiving financial aid?
Yes.
Up until this time, has she ever received child support?
No.
Now, let's talk about child support. Did you and her ever talk about child support?
Yes, we did.
And what was your advice, if any, regarding child support?
She spoke to me about opening a case for child support because she went to go apply for, at the time, I believe it was CCMS. It's a program that helps you pay for childcare. And that's when my conversation with her, I stated some of the facts about the program because I myself was in CCMS when I reached out for daycare assistance back when my little ones were smaller. One of the requisites for your application even to be looked at is that you have to open a child support case. If not, it won't, it's just one of the requirements. So when I told her that, she told me she had already applied and they had already called her that if she wanted, to pursue with her application, that she needed to open a child support case since they had already checked and there wasn't one open. That was my conversation with her about it.
At the time of her death, who was she living with?
My mother.
Okay, and had she been getting any strong financial support? Tell us about the background there in your mother's house.
My mother and, at times my father, my brother, myself, we would help her out whenever, she would voice that she needed something for the children. Whenever I was going to buy my son or my children clothes, I would bring her along with me and we would do our shopping together. As far as diapers, which is what goes pretty fast when they're small, and, formula and taking them to and from the doctor's visit for vaccines, all those things, we would all help her. I can't say just, one person. We would all help her as a family unit.
Okay, but it is safe to say that you did advise her that she should proceed with the child support action.
Yes.
Permission to approach her.
Approach, please.
I'm going to show you what I'm marking as State's Exhibit 43. See if you recognize this document.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Does it fairly and accurately depict what's within its contents here?
Yes, it's my sister's information. And I recognize it.
Do you recognize this handwriting?
Yes, it's my sister's handwriting.
Whose handwriting is that?
Grizelda.
Okay.
Any objections?
No objections, no.
What's the number?
This is state moves to introduce State Exhibit 483, the child support.
Number 43, submitted without objection. Thank you. Stakes 43.
I probably just keep your-
Come in.
So,
Mr. Knight, do me a favor, for purposes of the record, 483 has how many pages on it?
including the document itself is 11 pages, the certifications are 2.
All right, very good, thank you.
So, now, I'm showing you what's been already admitted in State's Exhibit 43. Can you read what this says up on top?
The title of the document?
Yes.
Application for 4D services.
Okay. And this is the application for child support?
That's correct.
And you see here, what is the name of this? Here.
Dominic Hernandez.
And you see when this was also submitted?
February 9th of 2018.
The information on page 2 is your sister's?
That's correct.
Grizelda Hernandez?
That's correct.
Now, on page 3, you see the
Yes.
And that here is name. What name's up there?
Ronald A. Burgos-Aviles.
And this is place of employment?
Yes, it is.
Do you know what this address indicates here?
Basically, what triggered him to do this horrific crime, if you want to hear exactly how he killed her, watch the one that I did yesterday when the chief and medical examiner was on. He explained everything. She fought so hard for that baby and for her. This monster had it planned. But basically what triggered him was she filed for child support, and that was it. He snapped. Low life. You shouldn't have been cheating on your wife, number one. And you're not using no condom, number two. You know, this is just, like I said, I do these trials and I do these crime things as teaching tools. My channel is a teaching channel, so you can learn from it to date smart and not thirsty. All right, and that's why I use these things, because they're real life stories, not making this up. You see, this happened. This could be you. So that's why people have to date smart and not thirsty. Oh well, let's get back to it.
11307 Pedrosa Street. Yes, I can read the address. I would not know.
Can you tell video 19 what under where it says, question why do you believe this person is biological father?
Yes. Unprotected intercourse for years until became pregnant.
So this April February the 9th, 2018 is when she officially filed for child support. February.
That's correct.
A little bit over a month and a half before she was killed.
That's correct.
Now, I want to refer your attention to the date of March 25th of 2018. March 25th, do you remember that date?
Yes.
Did you speak to your sister on that date?
Yes, I did.
How would you regularly communicate with her?
Phone or text message.
Do you remember what her cell phone number was?
771-1633.
Okay, and what's the area code?
Area code 956. 956-771-1633.
771-1633.
That's correct.
Okay. Do you know what other types of social media your sister would have been using around that time?
Facebook and Snapchat
Okay. Do you know
and
what
Instagram.
Okay, let's talk about that. Do you know what her Snapchat name was?
I wouldn't be able to remember.
Okay. What about her Facebook name?
It would likely be her name, Grizelda Hernandez.
Did she have a profile picture on her Facebook?
Yes, she did.
And what was that?
A picture of herself or herself with my nephews.
What about an email?
She had a TamiU email address, and I believe she also had a Yahoo address, but I wouldn't be able to read those out loud. If I see them, I could recognize them.
I'm going to now show you State's Exhibit 490. Ask you if you recognize.
Yes, these are texts from me and my sister.
These are text messages between you and her?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. These are text messages between you and her?
Yes,
You and your sister?
yes,
Okay, and you've seen this document before?
yes.
I'm showing it to the defense counsel. There's no objection. Permission to.
That states 490?
Yes.
Let me do that.
Okay, good minute. And now, place this up here.
He has a look like he doesn't regret it, but he's like, "Dag, I should have did it another way."
You recognize some conversations on here, so we'll start at the top.
Yes, yes, I do.
It says from Angie. Right? Is that you?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And do you want to go ahead and read for the jury what it
Of course.
says?
So from me, it says, I'm sleeping low. For me, again, it says, what's up? I believe prior to this, she was texting me, and that was my reply to her. Following, it says, from her to me, I was going to ask for a huge favor. My response, what's up?
I'll give you on the left of the document. The outgoing income.
Yes,
So these are text messages to you to her phone, correct?
yes,
So what we're seeing is from her phone.
yes, to and from me to her, from her to me. Yes.
I love you, BG. I was thinking the same thing too. What is up with the setup in this courtroom? And so many lawyers. This is insane. Great question. I can't, y'all. Oh, and then people who's coming in, happy 4th of July. Hope you have this as a blessed one and a safe one. And we have it on speed 1.5. If it's too fast for you, slow it down on your end. Hit the setting and you can make it on normal speed. Slow it down to whatever you like, whatever works for you. Resume. Right now, they're showing a text message between the sister and Grizelda. I might be pronouncing wrong the lady's name, so you have to text messages. All right, let's get back to it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I respond, sup, and she
What does
texts.
that mean, sir?
It means like, what's up? What's going on? What do you need? And then she goes on to respond, Dom's dad wants to meet him, so I wanted to borrow your car so I won't be having trouble with the truck, referring to my mom's truck. I respond, she keeps on and she says, in like an hour. This is 3:25, 3:43. Like in an hour or less. And then my response to her was, okay. Why and where are you meeting? Is my continued response. So she replies, so I can borrow it? Asking again. My reply to her is it in a public place? She replies, yes. Oh no, my reply is yes to when she asks, so can I borrow it? My reply is yes to her. And then she responds, at a park by Winfield, public place, so he can play. He referring to Dominic. She responds, I'm freaking out. Laugh out loud. I'm going to take a shower real quick, text you once I'm out. My response to her, I don't think it's a good idea. And it looks like there's some emojis next to it, those little black squares. And then, but I put, but yes, you can borrow it.
Hold on there. So why are you saying it's not a good idea?
Well, because they just had a huge argument prior to this after February when she submitted her documents for child support. And from her words to me was that he was very upset. He was very angry. He didn't want to speak to her again. He said he was never going to go through with it. He blocked her from social media, from her accounts, from her phone, everything. And then all of a sudden, that's why I'm asking her, is this a good idea? Because all of a sudden he wants to meet her. He wants to meet her. I didn't know it was a park until she tells me in the text it was a park. But I wanted it to be a public place. I'm thinking, maybe they're going to start arguing. So I want to make sure it's somewhere public where if she needs help, there's people watching that can help.
Okay, so you're concerned about her safety.
Yes.
Then, what do you go on to say?
That's exactly what I was sharing right now. Why does he want to meet him now after so long? And he's going to try to convince you of doing otherwise, referring to the child support case that he was so upset about and he didn't want to, go forward with it. And she replies, he can't convince me. I need that money for Dominic. He already accepted he's going to pay child support. And now he's like, okay, fine. I want to see him. He's my son. Oh, this is him talking. I want to see him. He's my son. And I want to see him. So I don't know if he feels guilty or like, well, it's all there, so might as well, or what. I'll tell you the whole story later. This is just part of it. I respond, okay. And she responds, he's not getting off of child support. Got pendejo.
Okay, so that's on the 25th, right?
That's correct.
And she's pretty insistent in saying that when she says stop pendejo, like he's stupid, like he's not going to get away with it.
Yes.
So, did she end up borrowing your car on that day?
Yes, she did.
And where did she end up taking Dominic?
They met. She took Dominic with her in my car to meet his father at the Winfield Park off of Del Mar. It's the only Winfield Park.
Was it in the morning or in the afternoon?
It was late morning, getting close to early afternoon, like right after lunchtime, around noontime.
What if at any time did you see your sister again that day?
on or about 2 p.m. I wrote a timeline myself, and I submitted it to you guys. If I can look at that, I can tell you exactly what time, because I have Vivint
That's okay.
at home, and it can tell me exactly what time she went through my door.
And it's okay as far as the exact time. I don't necessarily need the exact time. My main question to you is that did you have the occasion to see her again after that, after she borrowed your car?
Yes, she came back home. She drove my car back home.
And more importantly, did you see her after her meeting with the baby's father?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what, if anything, happened when you saw her? Tell us, walk the jury through how you came to see her and Dominic, and where did you see her?
So I spoke to my sister shortly before she started driving home. She told me she was cutting the visit short because my nephew had become very angsty and was crying a lot, and he just wouldn't stay. So I told her, okay, that I would see her when she would get home.
Okay. What happened? What, if anything, happened when you came in contact with her or with Dominic?
So she comes home, she walks in the door, and as soon as I open the door for her, I see her with my nephew in her arms, and he's crying. As soon as I open the door, he's saying, "Owie, owie," where she's carrying him. So I'm thinking, something's wrong with him the way she's holding him. So I said, "What's wrong with him? Why is he crying?" And she just said, "Maybe he needs a nap. He's just been fuzzy since the park, and that's why I had to leave." So I said, "Okay, well, come on in and lay down in the sofa with him and see if he'll, go to sleep and he'll feel better." So she's like, "Okay." In my house, in the living room, it's always kind of, dim, so everybody falls asleep easily in the living room. So she takes him onto the sofa and she lays with him there. And maybe about 25 minutes later, I can still hear him moaning and just being uncomfortable. So at this point, I tell her, "You know what?" And I can hear him saying "owie" to her still, "Owie, owie, mama, owie." So I tell her, "Bring Dominic to the room. Let me check him." So I grab him from her arms and I lay him down right on my bed, and I start checking him from head to toe. My mom, whenever my children, or when I'm the oldest from my brothers and sisters, whenever something was wrong with us, she'd always, lay us down and check us to make sure nothing was wrong with us. So I do the same thing. I start taking off his clothes pieces one by one, and when I pulled on his little shorts, he wears a diaper at this time. He's a year and a half, so he wears a diaper. I pulled on his shorts, and then when I go to pull him down, his legs look normal to me at first sight, and then I flip him this way to see his right thigh. It looks okay. His leg looks okay. But when I flip him on his right side, that I see his left leg, I see a dot of blood on his thigh, right on his vastus lateralis, right on his thigh, where you would get like a shot when the babies get shots from the doctors. So as I'm checking him, I'm talking to my sister right next to me, and I'm asking her, have you taken him in for shots lately? Because I noticed that as soon as I moved him and I went to check his leg, he starts, "Howie, Howie," like now he's crying. Now he's not just saying "Howie," now he's crying. So I'm telling her, "When did you take him for shots?" And he's like, I just see her eyes like wide open. She's like, "I haven't taken him for shots. I haven't taken him. He hasn't gotten any shots."
Let me stop you right there. You said her eyes get wide open. What is her demeanor at this moment? How is she acting?
I just feel at that moment when I ask her, she just goes into straight panic, because then she starts telling me like, "What's wrong with him? What's wrong with him?" And I just tell her, hold on, let me check in. Like, I'm trying to calm her down because she's screaming, she's frantic, she's just freaked out, and I'm checking Dominic. And when I go to wipe the area with my hand where he had the blood on it, the little scab, whatever had formed, it wipes off, and then we start seeing black. Like, his blood was not red; it was like very dark, like a brown, blackish color.
Let me ask you though, is she crying?
She's at this point, she's already crying and screaming, and my kids can hear her in the salon, and they all kind of rush in the room, and I tell her to calm down. I actually scream at her and tell her, like, "Calm down, you're scaring the baby," because the baby's crying, she's crying, and she's hysterical next to me, asking me what's wrong with him. I don't know what's wrong with him. I'm checking him.
Okay, so let me just take a question and answer. So you're a registered nurse, right?
Yes.
Okay, you have training,
Yes.
right? Here you have a baby presented with a wound or some injury, correct?
Yes.
What is the first thing you do as far as trying to find out what happened?
So my first thought was a shot, because like I said, the side of his leg, this muscle right here is where we put shots when you put shot in a baby. So that's why I'm thinking that. But when she says no, that I see the blood coming out, I'm thinking maybe an insect bite. And I've asked myself after that question, why didn't I think like a bee, a hornet, something that stung him? Because I've gone stung by bees and hornets, and no black blood comes out of it. So what I'm thinking is, if black blood or dark blood is coming out, there's something poisonous in there, like something is reacting with his blood. So when I go to squish it out and I'm telling her to calm down at the same time, it just keeps flowing, and I keep wiping it off at this time with the cloth, and it just keeps coming out, and she's freaking out because what she's seeing, and I'm trying to stay composed, but I'm here that he doesn't have a shot, and I'm thinking maybe something bit him at the park.
Okay,
So
but just slow down a little bit. But what, if any, information did you find out? How and where would Dominic be bitten by an insect?
So I asked her if, what happened at the park while I'm checking him. Did the baby fall? Did you notice anything bite him? Did you not leave him unattended for a while? Did you leave him alone with his dad for any amount of time that you maybe didn't see? And I feel that's why she went into panic mode, because she did leave him alone with his father for momentarily, I don't know how long. She tells me that she went to the car to get the sippy cup and some snacks that she had for him. And on her way back, Dominic's father is facing the park and is holding the Dominic on a bench. And I imagine he was holding him like this, because that's what she modeled to me when she was showing me. And she hears his dad speaking to him about him being present in his life because he doesn't want Dominic to go through what he went through when he was small, that he was raised by his grandmother, and he's going to be there for Dominic, and he's going to be present in his life. So my sister tells me that she took a while to get to him to allow them to have that moment.
The bond.
Yes, and when she starts walking a little faster because she starts hearing Dominic kind of cry or I don't know, be uneasy. But that was the only time she left him alone that she wasn't watching.
Okay, so the visit with his father was short then?
She cut the visit short because after that he wouldn't stop crying. He was just uneasy.
Now, so your nephew presents himself, he's got this, you describe as a brown or dark, like a black blood coming out of this wound. What, if anything, do you do next?
I tell her that we have to take him to the ER immediately. Because one, she just told me.
Now I hope everybody's following through. Please hit. BG is up more. You might have to refresh your screen, but the lights went up a little bit more. But thank you, BG. BG ain't having it. She's like, what's going on? I be getting the same way too. Hit the like, and share it on your social media. All right, now let's get back to it. I hope everybody's following this. Okay, so she went to go and see him. She stepped away for a second. She comes back. The baby's hysterically crying. Crying. What happened? So she goes home. She noticed there's something wrong. The sister, auntie, knows something wrong with the baby. And ever since then, the baby couldn't walk. Something was wrong with the leg. What did he inject this baby with? And then I think about 2 or 3 weeks later, he kills them both. Lowlife, because he didn't want to pay child support. And come to find out, I forgot where I heard it from, so don't quote me from and look it up or whatever. But like I said before, do you remember I said the other time when we were doing this trial? I said, I bet you this is not the first woman he was cheating with. Because we have to admit, he's not a bad looking guy. He's a little player. He's a sleazeball. He probably was cheating on his wife when they was dating. She married him thinking he would change. You know how us women think a man's going to change. He's not going to flip and change. Can't change him. It is what it is. Either you're going to accept it or not. And he was probably over there cheating. And I think he was cheating on his wife with another woman. They broke up. They got back together. He finally got her back. And next thing you know, he meets this woman who died online or whatever. Probably one of those crappy little sites like Plenty of Fish and what's the other one? Plenty of Fish and Tag. I call Plenty of Losers. And Tag, nothing. Those are just hood rat online. I don't have nothing against online dating. People want to do online dating, there's nothing wrong with it. But go for the ones that's a little bit more upscale, a little bit more, do your research that you pay for. Because if you pay in nothing, you're going to get nothing. It is what it is. Half of those sites is nothing but hookups. People just want to get with you just to have a little bang, bang, bang. Break my cookies, get the wood, and that's just about it. I mean, but if people like those kind of things, go for it and stuff. But if you're looking for, like, you're going online to meet somebody and you want to have a serious relationship, you need to go to a little bit better sites. Do your research. I did something online about different dating sites, which the ones, but I might do a update on that one. Do that again, to help people, because people, they like to go online. They do dating. Some people's not into the cold approach. Sometimes men, they get a little nervous of rejection of going out, meeting a woman and seeing a beautiful woman and approaching her. And some women are scared to do it too. So they go online. It makes things easier. You read the profile, you know what they like, what you like. It's a match, and you go from there or whatever. But we ain't gonna discuss that one. Let's get back to this. I'm loving everybody's feedback. Resume. Oh, what I was saying is, this poor baby suffered in pain, couldn't walk, because this low-life piece of crap injected that baby. Oh my gosh. Resume.
The baby didn't get any injection, so if this thing that he has is he didn't have it before and he just got it now and he's in pain and it's not blood where he cut himself, that blood's coming out. I tell her, we need to go now. So I leave my children at home. I leave with her to the ER, and we get there. They check him out. Before we leave, I took pictures of his leg, of the blood that was coming out. Okay. I just never seen that before. I just thought it was important for us to take the pictures because I don't know when we get to the ER if it's still going to be bleeding or not. But I wanted them to see what it was like when I found it.
Okay. Can I approach her?
Right.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State Exhibit 463, 464, and ask you if you recognize these photos.
Yes.
You can look at them both.
Yes.
Did you take those photos?
Yes.
These have already been admitted. Now, did you come across recently an additional photo that you tendered to the state?
Yes.
When was this?
Saturday afternoon.
Okay, so just this Saturday, you came across another photo in your phone?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna approach you. I'm gonna ask you. That's
Yes.
State Exhibit 44. Do you recognize that photo?
I took this picture.
You took that picture?
Yes.
Also,
It was outside my mom's house days after the incident.
Okay.
And I was telling my sister to take pictures on a daily just so we can see it was getting better or worse.
So you wanted to document the injury.
Yes, that's correct.
So the first two photos I showed you, those were actually that day?
Yes, that's correct.
And this was
Days after.
Days
Mhm.
after. Okay.
What number is that?
484, and, I'm sorry, I missed this one, 44.1, which was also, you brought to us.
That's correct. That's correct.
And this was also taken by you,
Yes.
and just recently discovered.
Yes, Saturday afternoon.
Any objection? Offering,
I'm offering State Exhibit 484 and 44.1.
admitted without objection. Thank you.
I published on.
Go ahead.
So, I'm first gonna show you State Exhibit 463. You described earlier, certain dark colored or black looking blood. Is that what you saw?
That's correct.
You know whose hand this is?
Yes, it's my hand holding him while I'm taking the picture.
I'm also gonna show you this 464. What are we looking at here?
His left side, outer side of his thigh, where the puncture or injection wound was at.
This is Stage 44.
Same side, left side of his thigh.
And 44.1.
Same side, my nephew's left side of the thigh.
How, being that you were around your nephew, how was this injury affecting his mobility?
After March 25th, after that day, he went from being a normal 18-month-old, I can run, everything, walk, to not being able to walk anymore. Days after, if I'm not mistaken, it was on March 29th, I received a text message from my sister asking if she could borrow my walker that we used for our children when they were about 9 months old, when they were learning to walk, because my nephew could no longer walk.
Did you guys engage in communications again by text regarding the leg or the injury to the leg?
Yes, both by phone and text.
Let me approach you. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State Exhibit 491. Ask you to look at these text messages and see if you recognize the communications that are contained therein and if they are between, in fact, you and your sister.
Yes, that's correct.
Any objection?
Move to admit State Exhibit 491.
All right, it'll be admitted without objection.
And for the record, you're redacted in communication with the person's outside.
Easy peasy, you're so right. This is totally horrible. And we're never going to find out what exactly did he inject that baby with. And he's not going to tell. He's going to take that forever. He's not going to tell. What was his goal? Well, he did that. I guess maybe his whole plan that the baby was going to die so that he'd be out of child support. But then realized she didn't call him and say, oh, the baby is dead. So he was like, oh, forget. That's probably what did it. Yeah. He probably injected the baby, thought it was going to kill the baby. Then realized she didn't call him and say the baby died. But the baby's sick. And then he was like, you know what? She got to go. And the baby. And then that's when he went in that rage. How many times did he stab her? 20-something times? Somebody put in there, oh gosh, I showed that yesterday. I can't remember. But he stabbed her several times and the baby. Low-life piece of crap. Low-life. Your mama should have never had you. Mama and Daddy laid down and they had Satan Jr. by the name of Ronald. So darn shame. Yep, easy peasy. Poor baby. What abandoned boy says, firing squad. Take him down. Lethal injection. Oh, damn. Oh, Deb. There go my girl Deb. 27 times. Stabbed her 27 times. Yep. I think that's what it was. He thought he was going to inject this baby. The baby's going to die. She's going to call, say the baby's dead. And he's like, whew. I ain't never got to be bald for her again. I ain't never got to see it again. I ain't got to pay no child support. And I could just move on and live happily ever after. And work things out with my wife. But the baby was still alive. So he said, okay, I got to kill them both. These are all my thoughts and opinions. But I think I'm kind of right on this one. Resume. Oh. And the people that's coming in, this is day 1 of last week. Last week was the first week. So tomorrow they're going to resume again. It's going to be week 2. And I might stream in the daytime if possible because I am off the rest of this week. I might be streaming it in the daytime when it's live. Maybe, maybe not. If not, you know how I do the evening recaps. Resume.
So, you see the date that's here?
Yes.
What is that date?
Okay. Melanie said something. I'm sorry, I missed that one. Donna just being real. The second visit, day of murder, she told him that she was taking the baby back to the hospital. That's when he asked to see him first, and he wanted to check him. I love this. Everybody got the detective hats on. This is good. This is good. Let's get back to it.
March 26, 2018.
Okay, so we're still at March 26, 2018. This is 14 days before Dominic death, correct?
That's correct.
And this is after the child support petition has already been filed, correct?
That's correct.
This is after the meeting between Dominic and his father for the very first time they meet.
That's correct.
So tell us what's going on.
These are texts from my sister. She texts, hey, Dom's dad is asking if he can get necrosis. He's all worried.
Okay, what is necrosis?
So going back to the suspected insect bite, necrosis basically is when your skin starts deteriorating in the inside. I had sent her some information and we had spoken about if it was a poisonous spider or anything that had bitten him, there might be necrosis happening in the inside since the top looked like if there was nothing but a little pinpoint.
But, let's talk a little bit about that. You're a nurse. You went with insect bite, right?
Yes,
But initially, when you first saw the baby, you thought injection, correct?
that's correct.
And what was the main reason why you went back to it being an insect bite?
Because she told me herself that she had not taken Dominic for any injections. So I trust her. That just went out the window, no injections. So I'm seeing black blood. I'm thinking something bit him. I'm thinking something poisonous bit him. I've gone bit by ants or hornets, like I said, or bees. So I know it wasn't that. It had to have been something that caused his blood color to turn otherwise. I don't know any bug that's been my children or myself or my brothers or sisters that has been that color. So I'm thinking poisonous, something poisonous is causing this color change. Time is of the essence. We need to do something.
Now, you think does the fact that he had been outdoors at a park also have something to do with it?
That's mainly why I thought it might have been an insect of some sort. He was around trees, maybe there was foliage on the floor. Something could have been hiding wherever he was running or in the swings or play sets. So I'm thinking he got, either stung or bit by something.
I'm just gonna go up here, and if you know, I'm gonna show you something that these text messages contain, if you understand it. Of course, we've had our meetings. You and I have met. We met with the state prosecutor, correct?
Yes, correct.
And I know it's been a long time since this happened, right?
Yes.
Now, if you notice up here, it says, can you tell us what those 3 letters are?
UTC?
Yeah, UTC. And given, do you recall it being explained to you that you have to do a conversion as far as the time,
Yes.
and that it's 5 hours behind?
I was not sure how many hours, but yes, I know there had to be a conversion in that.
Okay. And we'll get into that later on, but for the purposes of the question right now, you do see that says UTC, and you remember us having a discussion that it's 5 hours behind.
Okay, yes.
So when it says 12:49 a.m., it actually would be on the 25th?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So these,
That's correct.
okay, so just for the jury's purposes, the conversations around the injury, they weren't on the 26th,
They were on the date. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and thank you for clarifying that. So this is going on at night, I guess, right?
After the hospital visit, when she got home with my mom.
And you guys were texting all up until midnight and a little bit past, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, very well. So then, let's continue on here. Where did we leave off?
Mr. Jones, can you,
Yeah,
I wanted to see if you finished the exhibit, then after that, have a bench conference with you all.
okay. So where did you leave off, sorry?
I left off. I already read the top portion. I need to read what's right there on a little bit higher. No, I mean like there, where it says yes.
Okay.
So the response to her messages about the necrosis and the higher messages, my response was yes, he can. He and we should all be worried. And it says, yes, pobrecito ma. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this was a chat between my mom, her, and myself.
What do you mean by pobrecito?
Well, because if it was something poisonous, what I was thinking of poisonous spider, that's very, very painful. I've seen what I thought at the time. I'm thinking brown recluse or black widow, something poisonous, and I've had patients that have come in weeks after them being bitten, and it is just, it's bad. It's very painful. It's very painful to get treatment to correct it. It's horrible.
And pobrecito means poor, like
Yeah,
poor child?
poor child. It must be very painful for him.
No, I know you're not, I'm kind of asking you to translate, but not really. Like pobrecito means like poor child.
Yes, that's correct.
And then keep going.
So she messages me some emojis that we can't see him here, and then my response, she says, I'm going home right after.
Do you have to remember what those emojis were? If you do.
They most of them were sad emojis from me and from her, again, because we're talking about how painful this must be for him, so they were all sad emoji faces.
What is that?
Well, again, meaning like poor child, like the frowny face on the emoji.
Okay. Go on.
So she messages, I'm going right after, and then I message yes, and I'm telling her to measure his thighs and to take pictures and to check him in good lighting. So I say, just measure his thighs and take pictures, check him in good lighting. She responds, yes, I will, with some emojis, and then I respond with emojis, and then I respond, keep me posted.
And this goes late into the night of the 25th, correct?
Yes.
All right, can you approach?
Yes.
All right, members of the, if you can just remain seated while we do this.
You know, every time I do these trials, I'm trying to understand what the heck they possibly could be writing. What could he be writing? You done, sir. You got DNA. You got the pin towers from the cell phone. We already know you had a relationship with her. It's proven that that's your child. I mean, what could he possibly be writing? I'd love to know the notes that they be writing. These criminals, these lowlifes. What do they be writing? What are you going to change? You're done. You're done. Your player days is over. Just can't stay with one woman and just be faithful. No, you got to run around with all these different women, not using condoms, and don't want to accept your responsibility. And you figure the way to do this is just to kill this woman and the baby. That baby didn't ask to be born. If that baby could ask to be born, I don't think you'd have picked you as a loser for a dad. You'd have picked someone else. I'm just saying. Let's get back to it.
members of the jury, we're going to go ahead and call for lunch. Obviously, for those of you who may have brought something with you, you can eat here, you stay here. Those of you who plan to go out to eat lunch, just make sure and be back by 1:30. So we get started once everybody's here present, okay? Remember that when you go out, if you happen to go out together, or anybody else, but the instructions I gave you, I think it's the third time I gave you the instructions. Basically, if you need to remind yourselves and go. Take what's the tables to introduce exhibit A4, the medical records on the house. Okay? And then, take it.
Okay, so at Doctor's Hospital, please tell the jury what happened.
We get there with baby Dominic, and he's taken, after we shared Dominic's name, date of birth, basic demographic information, to the ER front staff. He's taken to the
I'm done. Abandoned boy said he's writing his will. You know, you might have a point. I don't think I can think of. Because he know he's done. Let me just write my will real quick. Okay, let's get back to it. I fast forward. They went to lunch, so now they back. Resume. Court, resume. Oh, I love it. I love it. Happy 4th of July to everyone. Happy 4th of July. Hopefully everybody's having themselves a great one. Especially later with the fireworks. It's a very romantic day to be with the one you love. Or your new boo that you might be dating. Or whatever the deal is. Have fun. I know I am. Resume.
back. The back referring to get examined by the nurse practitioner or nurses that get to check him. My sister goes back there with them, and I can see her from afar talking to the nurses about Dominic as they are checking him.
And what sort of treatment did they do for him?
They did an x-ray, if I'm not mistaken. They also did a lab draw for lab work, basic vital signs, respiration, temperature, blood pressure. They checked his oxygen level.
Okay.
I believe, I know when we left, she left with a prescription for an antibiotic. I believe another one for a steroid. I believe it was some type of prednisone, and ibuprofen for pain.
Okay. I'm showing you from the medical records. Do you see here where it talks about, if you could read this line?
Instructions provided for allergic reaction, insect, local cellulitis, child. Follow-up and/or special medication instructions.
Okay, so, and then also the medications you just mentioned, right?
Yes, cephalexin, which is the antibiotic, and then prednisolone, which is the oral suspension of the steroid.
Where did they get the conclusion that it was an insect bite?
I imagine they came to that conclusion after me and my sister, after my sister shared in the ER that he had sustained an insect bite or some type of bite to his leg.
How much time had passed between the injury and this visit to the ER? You know?
We were there within the hour of my sister getting home. However, I don't know at what time he sustained the injury at the park.
Okay. So you finish up with that treatment or the diagnosis that it's an insect bite, correct?
That's correct.
And he's given those medications.
That's correct.
And what if anything happens after that?
We go home. By this time, my mom has already shown up at the ER. So my sister leaves with my mom and my nephew home, and I leave to my house.
Okay. Now let's get to the 26th of March, which will be the next day. Okay? We're going to move into the next day. Did you have the opportunity to communicate with your sister by text?
Yes.
And what was the general subject matter about that?
Following up to see how my nephew was doing.
Okay. I may approach him.
You may.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as 492. I'm going to ask you to look at that. You recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
And what is that document?
These are text messages between me and my sister.
Offer 492, Your Honor.
You object? Say 492 is in there.
Okay. Now up here on line 12828. Okay. Do you recall what those web searches were for?
Yes, I was sending her, I was sharing a link with her. The first one, if we were able to click on it right now, it should be a charting schedule for dosing for, I believe it was Tylenol, and the bottom one is for Benadryl.
Okay. And those are websites you sent her?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Then on line 12841. If you can.
That is me texting her to see how, it says, how's Dominic? The following line says, "How did he pass the night?" And I'm telling her, jumping in the shower, don't forget his medicine right now. I was reminding her of the dosing schedule.
Okay.
The following message says, it's from her to me. It says, "I see him the same, foot still swollen, his thigh is still swollen and hard. He didn't cry all night and slept, but I woke up to check on him and give him his meds at their times, and he took them. No fever or vomiting, and his abdomen is still soft. His foot is still cold. And the other one is hot. I'm taking him as soon as the doctor opens, taking him to LMC.
Do you continue texting that day?
Yes.
We can start here at line 12847.
This is me texting her. "Okay, yes, keep me posted. Keep up with the medicine schedule." She replies, "Yes, I am. I have the alarms for when I need to give them to him. I message you when I'm at the doctor's." And I respond, "Okay. Show him our pics and that we suspect it to be a brown recluse or a black widow." Yes, I will. Send me the other ones you took besides the ones you sent. I have mommy's phone and yours. My camera is broken, so they're too blurry. I only have those two," was my response to her. Okay.
So here, your instructions to her were for her to show the doctor.
The photos.
Okay, you can continue here on 12859. So she's
"Okay, I'll let you know what they tell me." And I respond, "Okay."
Okay. What's her mood at this time, her demeanor? How is she?
I was not in front of her, but she was very concerned because when we checked his foot at my house before taking him to the ER, his foot was already feeling slightly colder than the other one, and you could see modeling on his lower part of his leg towards where his foot is. You could already see some color changes. And I imagine by this time, I didn't have Dominic in front of me, but I imagine by this time when she says that his leg is still cold, it might have been slightly colder than what I had felt the day before.
So even after doctor's hospital, she's telling you the next day she's going, or she's telling you she's going to go to LMC now and she's going to go see a doctor, so she's still scared about what's happening.
Yes.
Okay. And then on 12871.
This is for my sister. "Stupid doctor didn't want to see Dominic until 2. I brought him to Vital Med on McPherson." My response, "Okay, great." My response, "He's an idiot."
Okay, so you guys are pretty much being frustrated about what's going on, right?
Yes.
Okay. You want him to be seen.
Yes.
Does he eventually get to Vital Med?
Yes, he does.
And does he eventually get to see his pediatrician?
Yes, he does. He sees, my mom takes them to Vital Med first, and then they still follow up with Dr. Rodriguez as indicated by the ER.
By now,
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me read the poll real quick. Okay, we have 8 votes. And the question is, do you feel that he should get the death penalty? 50% says, of course, Donna. 38% says, no way, life in prison. And 12% says, I'm not for the death penalty. And the last question with 0% is, he didn't do it. Good. Nobody voted for that one because I'd have been like, really? Really? Okay, let's get back to it.
and you testified to this earlier, but prior to March 25th, Dominic was able to walk on his own, right? Even run.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Did he ever improve to the point where he could actually walk or run?
He never, ever walk again.
Did you ever have to lend her anything as to assist him in walking?
Yes, I'm not too sure if she messaged me or phone called me asking if she could borrow my stroller that I use for my son, Tristan. She had a stroller too, but once they finished using their stroller, she would always donate to the daycare, whatever, tools that she had for the kiddos so other kids from the daycare could use them. And none of us were using strollers anymore. The only reason I had mine is I had stored it in the storage. She told me she wanted to borrow the stroller to see if that would motivate Dominic to try to start walking again with the support of him being sitting and standing and not forcing him just to get up and walk.
Okay. Yeah, Coach Owner. I'm going to go ahead and show you what I marked as exhibits 497 and 499 and ask you to examine those and tell me if you're familiar with them.
Yes, yes,
Okay, that's on 497 and then 499.
yes.
How do we move to introduce 497 and 499?
Yeah, it is 497, 499. Should I just? Yeah.
Okay. Okay, can you read here on line 131, 51?
Hey, do you think I can borrow Tristan's walker later on for Dominic? My response, yes, of course. Thanks. Let me know when I can go for it.
Then on the 31st of March, line 13280, you sent this website.
Yes.
What was that website about?
It was on brown recluse and the type of damage that's caused.
I'm showing you this dangerous spider bites guide. Is this what you were referring to?
Yes, that's correct.
My girl Jackie popped up in here. Girl, you had me laughing when that comment that you put down. It's clear that she's pregnant. Everybody had to know that that girl was pregnant. I'm talking about my the commentary when I was doing about the girl that had the baby in the bathroom at the hospital. Yeah, it was clear as day that she was pregnant. There's a lot of people need to answer to this one. But okay, basically they have the sister on the stand, Jackie. And the sister, she talked a little bit about how they met and that, that she got pregnant by him and she applied for child support. And when she applied for child support, basically he snapped. But about 2 weeks before he murdered the girl and the baby, he asked to see the baby. And she hasn't spoken to him since God knows when. He just popped about the blue. But he injected the baby with something. So that baby basically suffered for about 2 weeks beforehand. Couldn't walk, in pain. In pain. And I guess my thoughts and opinions on this part was he thought the baby was going to die so he'd be free from child support. But no, it didn't work that way. So he asked to see the baby, I think because she told him that, she was going to go and take the baby to the doctor. So I guess he wanted to see the baby, but instead, that's when he killed them both. Low life piece of crap. And happy 4th to you, beautiful Jackie. Happy 4th. Resume. We almost done, ladies and gentlemen.
What exhibit number was that, Mr. Hernandez? Oh, the other one that you had on.
Oh, that's going to be part of 497.
Not in yet?
Yes, sir.
So
497.
497.
Yeah, 497.
Oh, I see. It was attached.
Now the other
That's a great question. Would like to hear from the grandparents. I'd like to hear what they have to say. Because she was living in the house with mommy and daddy. And her first child from another guy that was a loser. That wasn't paying child support. Then she runs around here with this married guy and gets pregnant again and still living at the house. And nobody seemed to know who this second guy was. Never seen him, never met him. Just heard about the name of, what did she call him? Anthony? Because he lied to her about his name. He gave her another name. Just a mess. But I would like to hear what the parents have to say. This is about with parents and teaching your kids. Because I don't think I'd be too comfortable with my daughter doing this. You're not gonna lay up in my house and be birthing a bunch of kids, no rings, with a bunch of losers. Okay, one time make a mistake, but second time, if you think you're grown enough to do all of this, well, you need to get your own place. I'm just saying. Reason.
Messages on 497. You start at line 13282.
So this is a message for me to her. I still go with the recluse still. I think we just drained real good. I don't know. Hard to tell. Until when do I, this is from her to me. Until when do I give his bite? Until when do I give his bite to heal? Referring to how much time does she give it to heal? Should I take him to San Antonio after all, or what? Or wait? Or what should I do? So my response, I think you should watch how ambulatory he is.
When you say ambulatory, what does that mean? How much he moves around?
Yes, because he wasn't able to walk anymore. He would get to places by crawling and dragging his little leg.
You drag him up with his front arms.
He would, like you can see a baby crawl and they don't use one leg and they drag the leg. That's how he would get around.
This is on the 31st, right, of March. Correct?
That's correct.
Already 6 days after the injury. Correct?
That's correct.
And he's still not able to walk.
No.
Okay. So if you can continue on 13288.
He doesn't want to walk. He just crawls. And if he tries, he cries. I don't know if it's the swelling of his muscle is why he can't stand. My reply, probably.
Probably meaning
Likely.
probably.
Probably is.
Okay. Then?
So she goes on to text me. Mommy told Alice and Theo Felix.
Great point, BG. And I think about that first kid all the time. Cause that first child lost your mommy, your half sibling. So hopefully the father steps in. Cause I'm hearing that, basically the father's, he's a dusty. But maybe he'll change now and realize step in. Or what's gonna happen? The grandparents is gonna have to take care of the child. They're gonna have to do all the work. Ladies, stay dust free. Men, stay dust debt free. It's just not worth it. It's not. That poor baby. Yep, the first son has no parents now. Unless his dad steps up. I hope he did. Yep. That's something we'll never know. Hope so. Oh, I used to have some ribs. I'll have a little bit of everything, girl. Everything. Yes. Let me know, everybody. Putting in. Y'all having some ribs? What are you having? Some steak? You having some shrimp? Shish kebabs? What are you having later on? What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you cooking? Not? Or are you just sitting back, relaxing? Share your thoughts. Share your thoughts. Let me know. Let me know. All right. Deb says, everyone has a safe fourth. Time for me to go in the pool. 114. 114. God, dog. Girl, yeah, get in that pool. Have yourself a good time and enjoy yourself and enjoy your fourth and have a safe one. And thank you for being here. And thank you for being early. And I'm sorry for starting late. Sorry for starting late, Deb. All right. What it said, I agree with you, Donna. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. They look like mommy, daddy gonna be stuck. Ribs and potato salad. And what about the mac and cheese? We gotta have that too. All right, let's get back to it. It's not much more longer. I'm just focusing on her with understand. Resume.
Theo Felix said that he has seen this before and to give it time. That's it's the muscle. But I'm like, and then there's a bunch of emojis.
Do you remember what those emojis were? If you do.
I think those were crying emojis.
Okay. Next.
I just don't want it to get worse. And then know I could have prevented everything from the start. My response, I'm mostly concerned with the tissue destruction, but it doesn't look like that's happening. So I think he'll get better soon.
At this point, in your mindset, the idea of a needle puncture that never enters your mind. Is that true?
Not at this point anymore because she had confirmed that she hadn't taken him for any injections. So I'm no longer thinking that.
So you had no reason to believe anybody
Not at all.
would inject that baby, right?
Not at all.
Now, did all of these conditions or concerns persist up until April the 9th, 2018? In other words, was Dominic's condition the same up until April the 9th?
Yes, I feel like he only got worse.
Only got worse, okay. At this stage, what's the mindset that you have or your sister has regarding this situation?
At this point, I personally, and my conversations with my mom and my sister, are that something is going on and none of us know what it is.
And speaking of that, even you mentioned also about her doctor, but that you can only see him at 2 p.m. Did his pediatrician get to see him also?
Yes, she took him with his pediatrician, and if I'm not mistaken, he saw him once or twice.
And was it sort of what happened with the ER?
Yes.
That it was treated as a insect bite?
That's correct.
So there was no, and that was based on the history being provided by Mama, Grizelda, saying, I think he got bit by an insect.
That's correct.
Okay. So, okay, so in other words, when he went to see his pediatrician, do you know if it was the same protocol?
Yes, it was. And it was because it was because
One second.
I could barely hear you, I'm sorry.
I believe we're speaking about a time when the witness was not personally present.
All right, so that's what you're saying? Say.
I'll rephrase it. I'll move on.
All right.
My point is that she had, do you know if she took him to her pediatrician?
yes, she did.
Do you know if there was any different diagnosis?
It was the same suspicion that it might have been an insect bite.
Did this condition persist around April the 9th of 2018, the day that Dominic was killed?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Let's go to that day, okay? I want you to go back to that day and tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what, if anything, happened on that day.
The day before.
Could you try and go in a question and answer basis as opposed to what the entire day looked like for her?
Okay, let's start at the beginning of April the 9th. And let me ask you this. Before April 9th, if your sister had plans to take Dominic out of town?
Yes, she did. She was going to take him with my mom to San Antonio to get checked out somewhere, anywhere with a pediatric specialties. We don't have specialties, any type of specialty like that in the radio. She was going to go take him to get checked out Wednesday.
Okay, on Wednesday. He was
On the
killed,
11th.
Okay, on the 11th, but he was killed on a Monday.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so she never got to take him to.
No, she didn't.
Okay. Now, let's go to the beginning of that day in the morning. When, if any, was the first time that you spoke or had contact with your sister?
I picked her up at about 7:40 at her house. I picked her up in Dominic.
Okay, and in relation to picking her up, had she made any requests to you the day before?
She had messaged me the Saturday before Monday asking to borrow my vehicle so she can meet with Dominic's father.
Okay.
Exactly. Nina, let's talk about this judge for a second. He's getting on my nerves. He really is rushing, especially Friday. He wanted to hurry up and start his 4th of July weekend. It's like he doesn't want to be bothered. You know, let the defense and let the prosecution or whoever put out their evidence. This is, you know, you are innocent until proven guilty. This is a person's life on the line. You know, this is a murder trial. You want to do things correctly and make sure that nothing comes back and it could be overturned or whatever the words I'm trying to say. There's something wrong with him. It's like he really don't want to be bothered. He don't want to do this. But who can you complain to? I don't know. He's the judge. Reason, they do abuse their power.
I'm going to show you what's been more tested to the 493. Ask you if you look at the documents. You recognize it?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And these are text messages between
That's-
you and your sister?
That's correct.
Stacy's with 493.
States 493, any objection? They will be admitted without objection.
Okay, publish, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Now, I'm showing you a document that's with line 13815, states exhibit 493, you were just testifying that she would have asked you prior to Monday about borrowing your car?
That's correct.
Okay, so can you please read that?
Text message from my sister to myself. Hey, I was going to ask if I can borrow your car so I can take Dominic tomorrow with his dad. Couldn't ask on the phone because Jaden is right here. Let me know. Oh, it'll be early, he said. Works at 11, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna go to line 13889.
Totally forgot Jaden was right here hearing. Hey, so I was going to ask if I can borrow your car in the morning to go have breakfast with Dominic's dad. If yes, I'll take it right back afterwards and I can get picked up there at your work so you won't have to bring me.
Okay, continue on the next.
She goes on to say, if not, it's fine. I know you work tomorrow. It would be like 8-ish or 9. And then I reply, so you're gonna drop me off? And she replies, yes, if you can. I'll take it to you as soon as I'm done. And then my response to her is, okay, what time do you need me to be ready? Her response is, what time do you need me to be ready? I think we missed some right there. I tell her at 7:30, and she responds, okay, I'll be ready by then.
Okay, so does that in fact come to be?
Yes.
How does that happen that morning of the night?
I leave my house in the morning with my oldest son in the car. I drive over to my mother's house. I pick her up and Dominic. She puts her car seat in the back for Dominic. She straps him in, and we leave the house to drop off my oldest son at Finley. At the time was the school he was attending. And then we leave to my work so she can drop me off.
What kind of vehicle would she normally drive?
She would drive my car.
But when she wasn't driving.
Oh, Jack, I didn't know that. See, I love my little detectives. We doing our research. I just read that this guy was actually a high ranking in the department. And he blew it all just because he didn't want to pay child support. And if I'm correct, Jackie, I think his ex-wife now, she is a border patrol police too officer. But I don't know where she's located now. But they are divorced. Thank you for sharing that. All right, resume.
Driving your car.
Oh, she would drive my mother's truck.
Remember what kind of truck that was?
It was a blue Expedition, Blue Explorer.
What's an Explorer, like an SUV?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, but what's the reason about your car? She liked your car?
Well, no, my mom was having issues with her truck. It would have issues starting up.
So your car was more reliable?
That's correct.
And what kind of car did you have?
Not only that, my mom used her car also for work, and she didn't know what time she needed to step out to the bank or anything if she needed to leave. So my car, I go to work, I leave my car there, and I use the company car to do my visits for my patients. So my car would literally just be sitting there.
Okay. So you all would help Grizelda out with lending her the car, whether it be your mom or yourself?
That's correct.
I'm going to show you the mark states exhibit 107, 108, 109, and 113.
These, I recognize him, that's my car.
I believe these have previously been.
These have been admitted.
Yes. Okay, so this is the car that she would have been driving on the 9th?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you know where this location is?
Yes.
Where?
It's at the Father McNoble Park.
The Father McNabb?
Yes.
Have you been there before?
Yes, we grew up in that park. We've been going there since we were school age.
How far did you all live in that park?
A couple of blocks from my house, just down the street.
And what part of town is this in? Please tell Jeremy.
It's off of Mines Road, the first subdivision. It used to be called back in the day Delwood. It was the first subdivision. You head on Bristol all the way down and you hit the park.
It's actually a big complex, correct?
Yes, it's grown very much since we moved there when I was about 11. So it's grown to soccer field, baseball field, a trail to bike and run in.
All right. You recognize this photo?
Yes,
What do we see in here?
Dominic's car seat in the back of my car.
Did you already have that in there, or was it placed by?
No, she placed it the morning that she used the vehicle.
Okay. So how did you facilitate that morning, giving her your car? Like, how did you do it? You said you were gonna go by early in the morning?
I went to pick her up after leaving my home. with my son. I picked her up. She put her car seat in the car. She got in the car. She strapped in Dominic. We left to drop off my son at his elementary school, and we left to my work. We get to my work. I get off. I ask her if she could bring me breakfast, so she went to Chick-fil-A, which was the nearest closest restaurant, to get me breakfast. She comes back, brings me my food, and I get my food from her. I look to the back seat and my nephew's sitting in his car seat.
What's he doing?
He's eating some chicken minis from Chick-fil-A, and he turns around and looks at me, and I just blow him a kiss from afar, and I tell him goodbye, that I'll see him soon and that I love him. And I told my sister goodbye. And that's the last time I saw them both.
You know where your sister was going? Where was she going, if you know?
She was heading home to change because they were going to head to the Father McNoby Park to meet Dominic's father.
Do you know how many phones your sister had?
Yeah, she had she had two phones. She had one working phone, and she had another phone that Dominic, she would carry for Dominic, and he would see, you know, the little educational videos and songs that he would listen to on the phone from daycare.
What was the name, the first name of the father of Dominic, as far as you knew?
Anthony
Did you know the last name?
Burgos.
Are those the only two names you knew?
At the time, that's the only names I knew.
Now let's go a little bit further after that morning. If the last time you saw her was after more or less 8:30 in the morning when she dropped you off your food, did you ever try to make contact with her later that morning?
I did, but she no longer answered her phone.
When did you attempt making contact with her, or why?
It had already been a little too long. She was going to come pick me up before lunch, and it was not usual for her to not call or text or send a photo of Dominic if they were out somewhere.
What if anything happened close to the lunch hour?
Several things happen simultaneously. So I have my phone, and I get alerts from Vivint if there's ever anybody detected in your camera, or if anybody rings your doorbell. At the same time that I'm receiving these messages, my phone rings, and it's a call from an investigator or a detective. And
Remember his name?
Rodriguez or Ramirez.
Benavides?
There was two officers. I think one of them was in a suit, and one of them was more casual with jeans and like a polo shirt.
Okay.
And he was wearing a homicide lanyard.
Would that be Gilbert Benavides?
That's correct.
How do you know he was wearing a homicide lanyard? Did you see him in person, or did you see him on your Vivint, or how did you?
I saw him in person when I got home.
Oh, so you went home?
He called me over the phone, and they told me if I was the owner of he described my Mercedes, and I told him that yes. He told me that he had found my car abandoned at the Father McNoble Park, and I told him that it wasn't abandoned. I told him that my sister was with my nephew in the car, that my sister was there, and he asked me who my sister was, and I told him her name, and he told me he needed to speak to me, and I told him that what was wrong, if he could tell me, and he didn't say anymore. He said that I needed to come in person or he can come to me, and I told him I could go home, that it was not a problem.
How did you get home?
When I'm on the phone with him, my line is ringing, my husband's already calling me, and I hang up the phone with him, I switch over the line, and I tell my husband to come pick me up, and he tells me I'm already on my way. Everything was happening so quickly because he also gets the alerts from Vivint. So while I'm talking on the phone, I imagine he was able to see the video closer and see who was at the house by looking at their uniforms. So he tells me he's on his way to pick me up. He picks me up at work, and he takes me to the house.
What happens when you get home?
We get there within about 5 minutes, and he pulls up to the driveway, and I automatically jump out of the truck and run toward where the officer is at, and I tell them where my sister's at. And they tell me to calm down and to relax, and that why am I asking about my sister? And I tell them that if they have my car, my sister is there, because my sister and my nephew were with my car. So I need them to look for my sister, I needed to look for my nephew.
And you would identify your sister for the police?
I'm sorry?
Were you able to identify your sister, give him her name and description?
Yes, he asked me for my sister's name. I give him my sister's name. I give him Dominic's name. And he tells me, why would your sister have your car? And I tell them that she was meeting Dominic's father at the park and that she should be there. And then he goes on to ask me, who was she meeting? And I tell him, Anthony. And I'm telling him he's a border patrol. And his face, when I say that, his face just changes. And he tells me, what? And I tell him, yes, she was meeting the baby's father, Anthony. He's a border patrol. And he goes on to ask me, Anthony what? And I said, Anthony Burgos. And at this time, the other officer is coming in front of me, and he's stepping off to the side, and I can see him grabbing his radio or something and starts talking on it, and I just turn around to try to see what he's doing, and the other officer starts asking me questions, trying to distract me so I won't listen to what he's doing. And he starts asking me about my sister, why my sister had my car, the same thing he had asked me. So I already start panicking and getting very angsty.
How do you come to find out what happened to your sister?
He comes back and asks me if I have a photo of her or something that I can show him, and I show him the photos, and he still doesn't tell me anything. All they keep telling me is that they're looking, that they keep looking, and that they're looking for her, but that they don't find them anywhere near the car. By this time, more family's gone to my house. My mom's already there, my dad's there, my godparents are there, my husband is there, but they're not telling anybody anything. I steal my husband's keys and I go in his truck to the park to go and try to find my sister. And I go and I see my car where it's parked. I look all around, but there's nothing, just my car and the detective next to it. And I'm trying to look through the bushes, through the trees, to see if I see anything. Nothing near my car. They tell me I have to go home. I head back to my house, and it isn't until hours later till I'm told that my sister and my nephew were murdered.
Were you able to go to the police station and talk to the police?
Yes.
And while you were there, did you provide them information at the station that happened?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to switch gears here and bring your attention back to the leg injury now. Now that Dominic has been killed, what if any concerns that you have about that leg injury? And what if
There were no more concerns. I knew it was him, that he tried to kill him the first time I saw him.
What if anything did you do? What type of action did you take, if any?
I told the officers that prior to Dominic's murder, he had been hurt, and we all suspected it was an insect bite, but that they needed to look into it because I was highly suspicious, if not certain, that it was his father that had tried to kill him at the park the first time under meeting.
Did you do anything else? Did you call anyone?
I called the coroner myself because I was afraid that it was going to fall through the cracks and nobody was ever going to tell her to look into Dominic's leg, and it was going to go unseen as if maybe he sustained that injury the day that he was murdered. And I was right when I phone called her. She had no idea. Nobody had told her yet.
Okay. And when you say her, who is her? Who is she?
Dr. Stern, the coroner.
Is it Dr. Corrine Stern?
That's correct.
She's a Webb County medical examiner?
That's correct.
And you asked her to what?
If she could please examine his left leg because he had sustained an injury prior to his murder, and that I was highly suspicious and certain that it might have been an attempt on his life.
Do you remember taking her some photos so that she could see those things?
Yes.
And we've seen some of those photos already, and were you able to show Dr. Stern those photos so she can look at the leg?
Yes, but it was at a later time when she had already done all her examination.
Okay, and but do you know if she did in fact re-examine the leg?
She did. She told me herself that she would be excising a good amount for future testing to find out exactly what was going on with his leg.
Okay. Now, keeping in mind, this is in reference to the injury that he would have received 15 days before, correct?
That's correct.
So this is already more than 2 weeks prior. You're asking her to look at the injury to his leg, correct?
That's correct.
At this point in time, was there still nothing on the surface visible as far as Necrosis.
Nothing but a pinpoint and about 2.5 cms of bruising all around. What appeared to be bruising.
Okay. I'm gonna put you almost
May.
I'm gonna show you what's marked as Exhibit 498. Ask you if you recognize. Just not gonna take it out. What's just wrong? What's just wrong?
Yes, it's a message from my sister.
The message between you and your sister?
That's correct.
Okay. Just show this to me. Let's introduce 498. Text message between
Any objection? Let me see.
I think it goes to the essence of the topic we're discussing. So that
And it's approach? What number was that again?
this is going to be 498.
49. States 498 is admitted. Thank you.
Something wrong with this judge. You can tell he's like rushing. He wants to get out of here.
Yes.
Read it for us.
I really thought this Easter he would be running everywhere, and he won't be. I'm doing an Easter do-over when he's better.
Remember her sending you that picture with this text? Yes. Thank you. 461. Hernandez, you remember the
Yes.
picture?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
this it?
Yes.
Easter, was that going to be that week? April? First week in April?
Yes.
Why don't we pass the witness? Yes.
Let's make sure to get to the exhibit spots on the exhibit table. Or are those your copies?
No, sir, those are the exhibits for
All right,
the morning.
thank you. You may proceed.
Ms. Hernandez, I'm so sorry for your loss. I just have a few questions for you, okay, when we go to the physics. So, you never met Mr. Burgos yourself, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you never spoke with him yourself?
That's correct.
And you weren't present for any interactions between him and your sister?
That's correct.
And you talked a lot about the injury that Dominic got on March 25th. And you went to the hospital with your sister that day.
That's correct.
And you brought the photos that you had taken,
That's correct.
and you showed them to the ER that day.
That's correct.
And they diagnosed it as an inside bite.
That's correct.
And you weren't present for the urgent care visit
That's correct.
or the pediatrician visit.
That's correct.
but you're aware that they also believed it to be an insect bite.
Because of my suggestion to start off with.
Yeah. And on the day of the murders, you went down to the station and you talked to Detective Ramirez there.
That's correct.
And you discussed the spider bite with him.
What was suspected to be a spider bite. That's correct.
Yeah. And you told him, I believe, that the doctor suspected a brown recluse.
Again, because of what I stated originally.
Yeah. And that they couldn't diagnose the type of spider without the insect.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
You told Detective Ramirez that the doctor suspected a brown recluse, but they couldn't confirm without seeing the insect.
I don't recall that. If you have a video of the playback, I can confirm.
Okay. That's good. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Hernandez, you may step down.
Thank you.
Be careful. Do you suspect that you're going to call her back for any reason? And there's been a request to release her from the rule, and the court is inclined to do so. All right. You are released from the rule, ma'am. You may remain in the courtroom or go back. Thank you. However, the instruction with regard to talking to anybody else about your testimony that is already a witness, that's going to witness, remains because of the rule against them as opposed to you. Okay. Thank you. Your next witness.
Dr. Antonio.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of it. You know, of course, it's more of this day one, but I just want to show her on the stand, the sister. So sad, just so sad. All right, what Jackie says here. I wonder if this was the main reason Chris Watts killed the daughters. Never know. That wipes out the financial obligation. That's a possibility. You know, you have a lot of people, a lot of men out here that didn't want to pay no child support. They can't stand it. They can't stand it. They feel like, oh, what are you trying to rip me off? You trying to control me? Taking out my check? And he probably was thinking like this is going to be embarrassing on the job because everybody's going to know. They're going to know that he's being taken for child support and it's not from his wife, some mistress. Just a mess. And what bothers me the most about this whole trial is two things. One is this little baby. Let me put up the picture. And I'm going to end y'all. Just a quick little closing thought. What really bothers me, this little angel right here was suffering in pain before he killed the baby. That's what really bothers me. And we're never going to find out what he injected this baby with. And number two, what bothers me, her firstborn child. What I'm hearing, that he was a dusty, he was a lowlife. And that first child lost his mother and have a loser father. So hopefully, you know, that whoever the father is going to step up and take care of the kid. This is just so sad. All right, so basically the bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, everybody date smart, not thirsty. Like I said, tomorrow I might stream in the day when the court is going on in the day. Or if not, I have a brief recap in the evening time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so you make sure everybody had themselves a blessed and a great 4th of July. Make sure you're safe. Be careful, be careful, be careful, and no drinking and driving. Adios.